And Francis is helping to lead this charge. He said, I don't like anything you're saying, man. You're hard on him. Francis is awesome. Okay, let's try one more before we wrap up tonight. One more example. What's next for Pope Francis, the guy you think we need to pray and obey? Well, Francis is going to green light contraception. Pa-dam, ta-dam, I'm a prophet. Here I go. I'm going to say it again. You think it's not coming? It's absolutely coming. He will use every means at his disposal to green light contraception if somebody doesn't, high up in the church's hierarchy, doesn't stop him first. It's obvious that's what he wants to do.
During the Pope's Inflight press conference, July 29th, when he was returning to Rome from Canada, the Pope was asked whether he was open to reevaluating the Church's teaching opposing the use of contraceptives. The Pope addressed the issue by talking about how doctrine or moral issues are always on a path of development.
Una Chiesa che non sviluppa in senso ecclesiale il suo pensiero è una Chiesa che va indietro. E questo è il problema di oggi, di tanti che si dicono tradizionali. No, non sono tradizionali, sono indietristi, vanno indietro senza radici. Sempre è stato fatto così, il secolo scorso è stato fatto così e l'indietrismo è un peccato perché non va avanti con la Chiesa.
What he just said is not even a lie. It's just noise coming out of Francis's face. It's absurd. Well, that's Francis. He can do whatever he wants. The question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when he changes the teaching on contraception? You ready for that? You just going to pray and obey? Because that's what Jesus would do? What's it going to take? What's it going to take? You know, before you're going to realize something has to be done. We've reached a point of an unprecedented point in the history of the church now. And you just have a very simple choice to make. Are you going to stand with Christ in the faith? Or are you going to go along with Francis? Because competent authorities in the church, far greater intellects than mine and yours, eventually going to sort this thing out. But in the short term, you cannot go along with this man without doing violation to the faith established by Jesus Christ. And the good news is people are realizing this more and more all over the world, right? I would say, man, I don't come on here to demoralize you. I come on here every week to encourage you. Stay in the church. Keep fighting, right? People are waking up. I'm not just making that up. It's true. But as an example, I was a guest on Newsmax, Chris Salcedo's show this week. Now, here's what I want you to do. Take a look at what Chris is saying in the lead up to his question to me.
Joining me now is editor of the Remnant newspaper and host of RTV's Remnant Underground, Michael Matt. Also with us, Catholic priest and founder of platinggrace.com, Father Leo Patlinghug. Welcome to you both, gentlemen. Michael, we'll begin with you. Many Catholics, like myself, believe it is high time for Pope Francis to resign, and not just because of his health. In my view, this Pope is a product of his socialist upbringing, a Pope who doesn't value freedom and liberty that our founders believed was the God-given right of all human beings. In the tradition of all left-wingers, he has brought division to the Catholic Church, where Christ calls for unity. His open hostility to the Latin Mass is just one example I can cite for you. Where do you stand on his potential resignation?
You know, thanks for having me on, first of all, Chris. It's a tough thing. This is a difficult moment to be Catholic for all of us. And I hate to say it, but I believe that Francis is not going to resign. He just 1 month ago, less than a month ago, in the Reuters interview, he said that it was gossip that he was planning to resign. That's a man in a very influential role as a talking head on Newsmax, and he's not afraid to say it. He's not afraid to speak the truth.
In my view, this Pope is a product of his socialist upbringing.
Everyone who cares about God and country needs to speak out now. God is not going to judge you harshly for defending the faith against something like Francis. People say, you got to stop that, man. It's a sin to resist the Pope. Is it? Well, that's not any of your business. That's my business. My children, my faith come first. How I deal with Francis is my business, not yours. And what we need to talk about as an organization, as an institution, as a group, is what are we going to do as this guy destroys the church? Chris Salcedo from Newsmax is going to be at the Catholic Identity Conference, which is a Unite the Clans rendezvous, by the way, with 700-800 people at the end of September in Pittsburgh. I hope you sign up for it. Look at the link below. And come out and listen to some of these men who've had enough of Francis, who've had enough of this revolution, who feel duty-bound in conscience to speak out. Those of us who know the faith, know the doctrine, know our church, have an obligation before God to stand up and say, this is wrong, in order to prevent millions of more people from being deceived by these lies coming out of the Vatican, from leaving the church, defecting from the church. We fight, we speak up, not to drive anybody out of the church, but to show them how to stay in the church and reclaim the Catholic ground. That's the point. So come on out to the Catholic Identity Conference. Watch these men of considerable influence speak out and put everything on the line in order to do so, because they agree with St. Robert Bellarmine, doctor of the church, who said, just as it would be lawful to resist a pontiff invading a body, so is it lawful to resist him invading souls or disturbing a state. And much more if that pontiff should endeavor to destroy the church. Doctor of the church, saying we must resist a pope who's trying to destroy the church. What do you think Francis is doing right now? Trying to build it up?
It's true, yes. Yes, it is genocide.
The stark and terrible reality, friends, today that we all face is that Francis is indeed endeavoring to destroy the church. And thus he must be resisted for the good of the church and for the protection of souls. You see? Something is apocalyptically wrong here. And those of us who have been educated in the faith, the priests, nuns, bishops, all of us, who understand what a departure this is from sound doctrine, how dangerous this is, not only for our religion, but for the future of the world, the future of our civilization, as I see it, have an obligation to speak up and speak out. A man like Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, one of the few bishops in the world who has the courage to stand with Christ and to speak out, to risk everything. You know what he's doing? He's helping millions stay in the church, because now people can look to him and say, I thought something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. I'm not crazy. And this is how you stay in the church. You understand that the church right now is being targeted by the forces of hell. Doesn't mean we get to leave. And we must always keep in mind, we're talking about the human element, not the divine, pure body of Christ, mystical body of Christ, the church, in her divine element. But the human element has been infiltrated.